Welcome back into the Sports Source, the segment of our program brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. It's never too soon to think about protecting your home or business from pests. Whether that's a termite inspection, termite treatments, or regular mosquito control, don't wait until spring. Call my friends at Southeast Termite and Pest Control this week to discuss your options for termite and mosquito control and treatments this spring and summer. All right, we are only 10 days away from National Signing Day. Ryan covers recruiting for GoVols247.com. Josh, you do a Monday night radio show on WNML, Football Futures. What time, 7:30?
That's right, 7:30 to 8 each Monday.
And Jimmy, of course, you talk recruiting on Sports Talk. I asked Ryan here to give me the top 7 targets for Tennessee in your mind in terms of who's hot on the board, and let's go ahead and take a look at this if we can. They're the top 7, and I've got them listed by sort of their overall, the list that you sent, sort of the ranking.
Sort of by ranking, not by priority necessarily.
Yeah. Now, over on the far right, you'll actually see that's their 24/7 national rank in terms of where they rank in the nation. But in terms of what you think Tennessee's looking for, you think it's in this order. Darnell Wright's considered pretty much a lock at this point, is he not?
Pretty close. I mean, we haven't heard of him being anywhere else this weekend. He was at West Virginia last weekend. Don't think West Virginia's a real threat. So all he's got left is an official visit to Tennessee next weekend, and that sets up well for them.
And with Drew Richmond in the transfer portal, that is an even more important get. Mm-hmm. All right, on the rest of this list, who else does Tennessee have a really good shot at?
I think you start with the linebackers. I think those are some of the main guys they want. Henry To'oTo'o and Chris Russell, the fast-rising player from over in West Tennessee. Both of those guys are big priorities for Tennessee. I think if they had their dream finish, probably Wright, To'oTo'o, and Russell might be those 3. A couple others, you look at the defensive linemen. They're interesting because you could use some help there, but how do those guys fit into this class? You know, if you land a couple of those other guys, it might be tough. You've also got, not included on this list, Ladarius Cox and Anthony Harris, who are committed, but they didn't sign with Tennessee. Are they part of this finish for Tennessee? It'll be interesting to see if they stick. And I think Jamie Robinson is the other guy who's maybe in play for Tennessee. He took an official visit last weekend, but I think he's at least a possibility for Tennessee. George Pickens looking like a little bit more of a long shot now at wide receiver.
The idea was T. Martin coming in was going to help you land George Pickens. Your thoughts, Josh, on – you agree, disagree with any of those?
Yeah, I agree with all that. And
come on, fight.
Never mind, cross all the names off the list. Then you're in trouble, actually. But I think a big part of it is just the numbers. There's not a lot of room left in this class. So the priorities, I think, for Tennessee and what it needs, and when you factor in talent, would be Darnell Wright. You got to have him, and it looks like they will. And then at linebacker, and I think if you finish out there with those 2 linebackers, you feel really good. If you're getting Henry T, that means Alabama's not signing him as well, so that's a big positive. Chris Russell, considering SEC schools. They need help at receiver. Jamie Robinson, they need more speed and athleticism, but again, how many spots do you have?
I think they'll get To'oTo'o.
Really?
To'oTo'o. That's how you say it. I've learned. Yep.
Okay.
Here's the deal on that. So Kevin Simon's the primary recruiter for Tennessee on him, and the primary recruiter at Alabama, Josh LaPoy, left. He's very much in the family about relationships. I like Tennessee's position with him. And I do agree with you on Darnell Wright and Christopher Russell. I do think the 4th guy would be Robinson if they're able to get another one.
Well, what's it going to take to make the fan base happy? There were some people last year that were disappointed that the coaching staff didn't close well. And I thought, they've only been on the job for a month. I mean, let's dial down they don't close well. However, because it was said last year, if you don't see a couple of the big names come through here at the end, I have a feeling you're going to hear that again because it's already out there, which means it's easy to run back and get it again. What's it going to take to make the fan base happy?
I don't know, because you're so limited. You can't go out and sign like 8 or 9 people to say, okay, we've closed extremely well. Well, to me, you close well if you get the 3 we talked about and you get Robinson. Because as we've learned, D'Angelo Gibbs has to count against this class. So you're narrowing your scope of how many players you can actually take. So you can only take about 4 more. If you get those 4, they ought to be happy.
Well, the funny thing is, because of the way it's now done, if you had gotten, I mean, in years past, if you'd gotten Gray and Crouch on National Signing Day, confetti, champagne, but they've kind of been, okay, we got them. Now they're in the claw. All right, we got them. What about now? All right, that's like having your birthday in February. I know Christmas was great, thanks. but what about my birthday present? You know, I'm ready for the new thing.
It's interesting on our message board. The perception has almost been Darnell Wright is such a given that Tennessee needs something else to make this feel like an exciting finish. And look at it, Darnell Wright and Henry To'oTo'o could be 2 top 50 players nationally that Tennessee could add on signing day. They get those 2 alone. That's a huge finish to me.
And I'll just say this. I've had 15 different people tell me how that kid's name is pronounced, and they all said, this is the way.
Yeah.
This
And
is the way.
They're all different.
To'o.
Everybody has it different. Everybody. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about, well, first, we'll talk about, well, not first. Later, we'll be talking about Phillip Fulmer and Holly Warlick. If things don't get turned around, we know where fans are. They're not traveling to see the Lady Vols anymore. They're not showing up for games. Will Phillip Fulmer, who's known her for years and was a coach himself, pull the trigger? That'll be discussed later. Next, though, we're going to preview Tennessee's week on the road. The travel could be the thing this week. That could be the biggest challenge. Come on back on the Sports Source.